In this training video, we're going to have a look at two tools which are really helpful for getting a high-level overview of your equipment inventory. Both of these tools are accessed from the Tools menu. First, we have our Dashboard tool, which gives you pie charts and tabular view of your data at a high level. And secondly, we have the Map view, which gives you a geographical view of your data. Let's start by having a look at the Dashboard tool and then move on to the Map view one. On the Tools menu, select Dashboard. Let's just quickly orientate ourselves on the page a little bit so we understand this dashboard. Up at the top, we can choose what data we'd like to be selected, followed then by an option to choose how it should be displayed. Following that, we'll see our actual dashboard, pie charts and data tables. And finally, at the end, a link that you can use to embed the dashboard in your own website. Let's just have a quick look at those in a little bit more detail. In the data options section, for example, we could decide whether we only wanted to see our current inventory or also choose to include retired, sold and for sale gear. Most likely, you would only want to see your current inventory. You could also choose whether you want to include equipment that's not yet in use or exclude that. Further down, the ability to set thresholds for how often or how quickly things should fall due for inspection, test and service to appear in the dashboard, and also a really useful filter to scope the dashboard down to a particular site. For example, if we wanted to only run this dashboard at our climbing centre, we can select that and the data that's selected will now only be relevant to that part of the organisation. Quick look at the display options. If you don't want to see all of those pie charts or you're not interested in seeing the data tables, then you can turn those on and off as you wish. For example, if we don't want to see the functional testing data or the service history data, we can turn those off. And again, for example, if we didn't want to see the data tables, we could turn those off, leaving just pie charts behind. Having made those choices in your data options and in your display options, you're then presented with the output of that, a high-level pie chart and tabular view of your inventory. Scrolling down to the bottom finally, we also see the ability to copy that link and share that as an embed in your own website. Let's jump over now and have a look at our map view, which again provides you with a high-level overview, but this time orientated around the geography of your sites within your organisation. For that one, Tools again, and then Map View, the second option. Again, let's take a moment here to orientate ourselves on the tool and then dive into the detail a little bit. Similar to the Dashboard tool, up at the top, we've got some choices we can make which will affect what data gets selected for this and also how it gets presented on the page. For example, we could decide what style of map we'd like to see. Would we like a terrain map? Would we prefer a satellite map? Changing those options will then display what you see on the chart below you. Above also, just like on the first dashboard view that we looked at, the ability to decide whether we're going to hide or include gear that's been retired, sold or for sale, and the same for our not yet in use equipment. If we zoom out a little bit, we can see that this organisation in our training data set has 4 sites scattered around the UK. 3 of those sites, there are no warnings present. So all equipment there has been inspected, no equipment is end of life. However, in one of our sites, we can see that we do have an issue. We can zoom in a little bit more, have a look at where that site is, click on that to expand it and see the subsites within it. It seems to have 4 subsites, 3 of which again have no issues, but one particular place within this facility has got some equipment that we'd like to have a look at. Let's click that red one. We can see the details of the equipment at that part of the site, and we can see specifically the reason it's being flagged up is we've got 7 pieces of equipment which are end of life and also 12 which have fallen due for inspection. So by using that map view, we were able to see all of our sites laid out on a map in front of us, and particularly to look for any sites that might have issues that we'd like to take action on. Finally, down at the bottom, just as for the Dashboard tool, we've again got the option to copy a link here which you can embed in your own website, your own portal, to give people a sense of your management regime on your equipment. Hopefully those 2 tools have been useful for you to have a look through. And if you're wondering where to go next, a very logical place to have a look would be our reporting tools, which will enable you to go down one level of detail further and also start to analyse your information in more detail.